Imagine you're 16, standing on a sunlit beach, the world feeling wide open and full of promise. You think you're safe, wrapped in the glow of a perfect vacation. But then someone steps into your story, someone with a smile that hides something darker. My name is Anna. And this is the story of how a week in paradise turned into a nightmare I can't shake. It started with a game of volleyball, a trainer named Ibrahim, and a moment that changed everything. By the time it was over, I'd learned a lesson I'd never forget. Sometimes, the people who seem the friendliest are the ones you should fear the most. The air in Turkey hit me like a wave when we stepped off the plane, warm, thick with the scent of salt and blooming flowers. I was a shy girl from a small town in Russia, petite and fair, always more comfortable on a sports field than in a crowd. My family had saved for months for this trip, a week at an all-inclusive resort on the Turkish coast. My little brother Sasha was bouncing with excitement, clutching his toy cars. My parents were already dreaming of lazy days by the pool. Me, I couldn't wait to feel the sand under my feet and the volleyball in my hands. Our first morning was a blur of unpacking and exploring. The resort was massive, a maze of restaurants, pools, and gardens. Sasha ran to the kids' club, begging to join a treasure hunt. My parents settled at the buffet, marveling at the endless trays of pastries and grilled meats. I grabbed the yogurt and slipped into my sports gear, tank top, shorts, and sneakers. Volleyball was calling. I'd played on my school team for years, and the court was where I felt alive. Where my shyness melted away, the beach was just steps from the lobby, its sand warm and soft. The volleyball courts were tucked near the water, nets swaying in the breeze. I signed up for the morning tournament, my name scrawled on a clipboard held by a staff member. That's when I noticed him, Ibrahim, the trainer. He was impossible to miss, tall, maybe 19 or 20, with dark hair and a smile that seemed to light up the beach. His red staff shirt hugged his athletic frame, and he moved with a confidence that drew every eye. He shouted instructions in a mix of English and Turkish, his voice cutting through the noise. His tan skin blended with the sand, and his laugh was loud, infectious. The game was a rush. I dove for the ball, spiked it over the net, and cheered with teammates I'd just met. The sand stung my knees, the sun burned my shoulders, but I didn't care. For those hours, I was free from my small town life, my shyness, everything. When the tournament ended, I collapsed onto the sand, breathless and grinning. The other players drifted off, but I stayed, sipping water and watching the waves roll in. That's when Ibrahim approached. He crouched down, his shadow falling over me. "Hey, what's your name?" he asked in Russian, his accent thick but clear. I was startled he spoke my language. Or at least enough to get by. "I'm Anna," I said, wiping sweat from my forehead. "I'm 16. His smile widened, his eyes lingering on my face, my hair, my frame. "Wow, you're little," he said, his tone light but oddly personal, like he was claiming something. I laughed, unsure what to make of it. Was he teasing? Flirting? I didn't know. Boys didn't talk to me like this back home. That moment was brief, a fleeting exchange under the sun. Ibrahim stood, gave me a nod, and walked back to the net, shouting at another group of players. I gathered my things and headed to the pool, where my family was waiting. Sasha splashed me, Mom handed me a lemonade, and Dad rambled about the seafood he's tried. I laughed, but Ibrahim's words lingered, like a pebble in my shoe. I told myself it was nothing, just a trainer being friendly, a cultural quirk maybe. The resort was safe, wasn't it? Security guards patrolled the gates, staff wore name tags, and everyone smiled. The next morning, I was back at the volleyball court. The sun was higher, the beach busier with families and couples. Ibrahim was there, clipboard in hand, his red shirt bright against the sand. He waved when he saw me, his smile wide. "Anna, you're back," he called, like we were old friends. I waved back, my cheeks warm. The tournament was even better than the first day, faster, louder, more intense. I played with a focus I didn't know I had, diving into the sand, spiking the ball with a force that surprised me. When it ended, I was sweaty and exhilarated, sitting on the sidelines with a bottle of water. Ibrahim approached again, his shadow long in the late morning light. "You're good, Anna," he said, his grin disarming. "Really good. You played back in Russia?" I nodded, flattered. "Yeah, on my school team." He tilted his head, his eyes locking onto mine. "Cool. Hey, can I get your number? For volleyball stuff, you know. Tournaments, updates?" My heart skipped. No one had ever asked for my number before, not like this. Part of me was thrilled the trainer thought I was worth talking to. Part of me felt a prickle of doubt, like a warning I couldn't hear clearly. His smile was warm, but his eyes were intense, almost hungry. Still, he was staff, part of the resort. It seemed harmless. So I typed my number into his phone, my fingers trembling. He winked, said, "See you around, little Anna," and walked away, his stride confident. That afternoon, I joined my family by the pool. Sasha was splashing, Mom was reading, Dad was napping under an umbrella. I tried to focus on the moment, the sun, the laughter, the icy lemonade in my hand, but my phone felt like a weight, like it held a secret I wasn't ready to face. I didn't check it, not yet. I wanted to hold on to the day, to pretend everything was as perfect as the resort's glossy brochures. That night, alone in my room, the balcony doors opened to the sound of waves. I finally looked. A message from an unknown number. "Hey, little Anna," I read. "Wanna hang out on the beach? 10 p.m.? I stared at the screen, my pulse quickening. Little Anna. The words felt like a label, a claim I didn't choose, but I was 16, far from home, and the idea of a beach meetup sounded like an adventure. A chance to be someone bolder. I typed short and hit send, my heart racing with a mix of excitement and something darker, something I couldn't yet name. My finger hovered over the send button, the words sure glowing on my phone screen. I was 16, a shy girl from Russia, caught in the thrill of a Turkish vacation. Ibrahim's message, "Hey little Anna, wanna hang out on the beach? 10 p.m. felt like a dare. A chance to step out of my quiet world. The resort's lights glittered behind me, promising safety, but the darkness of the beach ahead seemed to whisper warning. I told myself it was just a meetup, a friendly chat under the stars. But as I pressed send, a chill ran through me, like I'd just opened a door I couldn't close. Something darker was waiting, and I was walking right toward it. The decision to meet Ibrahim wasn't impulsive, not exactly. After his message arrived, I'd sat on my bed. The balcony doors opened to the sound of waves. My heart a tangled mess of excitement and nerves. Part of me, the shy small-town Anna, wanted to say no, to stay in the safety of my room with my family. But another part, the part that dreamed of being bold, saw this as a chance to prove I wasn't just a quiet girl who blushed at compliments, a chance to practice my English, to make a friend in a foreign country. Ibrahim was a trainer, part of the resort. He'd been friendly, charming even, with that white smile and easy laugh. What could go wrong? I glanced at the clock, 9:30 p.m. My parents were on the balcony, their voices soft over a game of cards. My little brother, Sasha, was asleep, his toy car scattered on the floor. I put on a hoodie, the fabric a small shield against the night. "I'm going for a walk," I called, my voice steadier than I felt. Mom looked up from her cards. "Stay in the resort, okay?" "It's safe here," I nodded, avoiding her eyes. The resort was gated, patrolled by security, its staff trained to keep guests happy. That's what I told myself as I stepped into the hallway, the marble cool under my sneakers. The beach was a world apart from the daytime chaos. The sand was cool now, clinging to my sneakers as I stepped off the path. A few torches lined the shore, their flames dancing in the breeze, but their light barely reached the water. The stars were bright. A blanket of silver overhead, but the darkness felt alive, pressing in from all sides. The waves crashed louder than I expected, their rhythm unsteady, like a heartbeat out of sync. I hugged my arms, the hoodie suddenly too thin against the warm night air. Ibrahim was waiting on a bench near the water, his silhouette sharp against the torchlight. He stood as I approached, his smile wide, almost too wide. "Anna, you came," he said, his voice carrying over the waves. He wasn't in his red staff shirt anymore, just a black t-shirt and jeans, the casual clothes making him seem less like a trainer, less like someone the resort controlled. My stomach twisted, a quick sharp pain, but I forced a smile. He was still Ibrahim, the guy from the volleyball court, the one who'd called me little Anna with a laugh. I was overthinking this. We sat on the bench, the wood creaking under us. The conversation started easily enough. He asked about Russia, my school, my friends, whether I liked the cold winters. I asked about his life in Turkey, how he ended up working at the resort. My English felt clunky, but I was proud to keep up, even with his thick accent. "You speak so well," he said, leaning back, his arm resting on the bench behind me. "Most Russians don't. You're special." The air shifted, like a storm gathering far out at sea. Ibrahim moved closer. His knee brushing mine, I shifted away, tugging at my hoodie, pretending to adjust it. He didn't seem to notice, or maybe he did. He asked about volleyball, about my school team, but his questions felt like a performance, like he was waiting for an opening. Then without warning, he reached for my hand. His fingers closed around mine, firm, too firm, his skin warm against my cold palm. "Your hand is so small," he said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "So warm. I like it." I tried to steer the conversation back to safety, asking about his job, how many tournaments he ran, but he wasn't interested. He leaned in, his face closer, the scent of his cologne sharp and overwhelming. "Anna," he said, his tone shifting, teasing but with a blade beneath it. "How many boyfriends you have?" My cheeks burned, the question catching me off guard. "None," I mumbled, staring at the sand. My voice barely audible over the waves. "I don't date." His smile changed, twisting into something sharper, something that made my stomach lurch. "Really? A pretty girl like you?" He paused, his eyes narrowing. "Never kiss a boy?" I stood, my legs shaky, the sand shifting under me. "I should go," I said, my voice trembling. "It's late." He stood too, stepping closer, his shadow looming. "Wait, don't go yet," he said, his hand reaching out like he wanted to pull me back. I stepped away, turning it into an awkward wave. "Good night," I said, and hurried toward the resort, the sand slowing my steps. I could feel his gaze on my back, heavy, unrelenting, like a weight I couldn't shake. The resort's lights were blinding after the dark beach, but they didn't feel safe anymore. I ran to my room, my sneakers lapping against the marble hallway. I locked the door, my breath ragged, and sank onto my bed. My phone buzzed, the screen glowing in the dark. A message from Ibrahim. "You're so shy, little Anna." I like that. The words stared back at me, each one a needle in my chest. I didn't reply it, I couldn't. My hands trembled as I set the phone face down, but the message burned in my mind. That night, I lay awake, the waves outside my balcony no longer soothing. I replayed every moment, the way he'd held my hand, the way his questions had cut through me, the way his smile had shifted. I'd been excited, curious, but now I was something else, scared. I decided I was done. No more volleyball, no more texts. I'd stay with my family, avoid the beach, and pretend this never happened. The resort was big enough to disappear, and wasn't it? But as I drifted into a restless sleep, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Ibrahim, then another. The words glowed in the dark, pulling me back to the beach, to his eyes, to the moment I realized he wasn't going to let me go. The resort, my paradise, was starting to feel like a cage, and I didn't know how to escape it. I thought I could outrun it, the weight of Ibrahim's words, the shadow of his gaze, the sinking feeling that I'd let something dangerous slip into my world. After that night on the beach, I'd made a promise to myself: no more volleyball, no more texts, no more Ibrahim. I was 16, a shy girl from Russia, clinging to the hope that I could disappear into the resort's glittering chaos and reclaim my perfect vacation. But as I woke to the buzz of my phone, new messages from Ibrahim glowing in the dark, I realized he wasn't going to let me go. The resort, my paradise, had become a cage, and every step I took felt like it was leading me closer to him. That night on the beach had changed everything. His hand on mine, his questions about boyfriends, his smile that wasn't a smile anymore, they'd stripped away the illusion of safety I'd clung to. I'd run back to my room, locked the door, and stared at his message. "You're so shy, little Anna." I like that. The words had burned into me, each one a reminder of how small I'd felt, how helpless. I'd turned my phone face down, willing it to stay silent, but sleep hadn't come. The waves outside my balcony, once soothing, now sounded like a warning, their rhythm unsteady, relentless. When morning came, the resort looked the same, palm trees swaying, pools sparkling, guests laughing over breakfast, but it felt different, like a stage set that hid something rotten beneath. I dragged myself out of bed, my eyes heavy from sleeplessness. My little brother, Sasha, was already up, begging Mom to take him to the kids club. My parents were at the balcony table, sipping coffee, planning a boat tour. I wanted to tell them about Ibrahim, about the beach, about the fear curling in my chest, but how could I? It sounded so small. A trainer asked for my number, held my hand, sent a few texts. They'd laugh, tell me I was being dramatic, so I stayed quiet, forcing a smile as I grabbed a plate of fruit from the buffet. My phone buzzed in my pocket and my stomach dropped. I didn't look, not yet. I sat with my family, picking at my food, trying to focus on Sasha's chatter about a sandcastle contest. But the buzz came again, then again, each one like a tap on my shoulder. When my parents stepped away to get more coffee, I pulled out my phone. 3 new messages from Ibrahim. Good morning, little Anna. The first read, where are you? Volleyball today? The second, you didn't reply last night. You okay? The third, I miss seeing you. My hands shook as I read them, the words blurring. Miss seeing me? He barely knew me. I decided to stay away from the beach. The volleyball courts, once my escape, now felt like a trap. I'd stick to the pool, the restaurants, the crowded places where Ibrahim couldn't reach me. I spent the morning with my family, floating in the shallow end, letting the sun warm my skin, but even there, I couldn't relax. Every laugh from the crowd made me flinch. Every shadow made me turn. Was he watching? Could he see me? The resort was huge, but it felt smaller now, its pathways closing in like the walls of a maze. At lunch, I met a group of girls I'd played volleyball with, Lena and Maria, sisters from Moscow, and Sophie, a British girl with a quick laugh. They were friendly, easy to talk to, and for a moment I felt normal again. We sat at a shaded table, sharing fries and stories about our hometowns. I wanted to tell them about Ibrahim, but the words stuck in my throat. What if they thought I was overreacting? What if they laughed? Finally, I forced it out, my voice low. There's this trainer, Ibrahim. He has been texting me a lot, and last night on the beach, he held my hand, asked weird questions. Lena raised an eyebrow, her forward pausing. Weird how? I hesitated, then told them his questions about boyfriends, his comment about kissing, the way he looked at me. Maria shrugged. Sounds like a vacation fling. He's probably just into you. He's cute, right? Sophie nodded. Yeah, listen up. It's just a bit of fun. But Lena frowned, her eyes narrowing. Did you want him to hold your hand? I shook my head, my cheeks burning. No, it felt wrong. Lena leaned closer. Then trust that. If he's pushing, that's not okay. That afternoon, I stuck with the girls, hoping their presence would shield me. We wandered the resort, exploring the gardens, posing for photos by the fountains, but my phone kept buzzing. Each message from Ibrahim like a needle. Anna, where are you? Come to volleyball. You're so quiet, little Anna. I didn't reply, but I couldn't bring myself to block him, not yet. What if he got angry? What if he found me anyway? The resort felt smaller with every text, its beauty tainted by the fear he'd appear round the next corner. My fear came true at dinner. We were on the terrace, an open-air restaurant overlooking the sea. The tables were packed, candles flickering, the air filled with the clink of plates and laughter. I sat with my family, trying to focus on that story about a fish he'd seen on the boat tour. Then I saw him, Ibrahim, standing near the buffet, a tray in his hands. He wasn't a waiter, but there he was, his red shirt swapped for a white one, his eyes scanning the crowd. My fork slipped, clattering against my plate. Mom looked up. Anna, you okay? I nodded, my throat tight, but I couldn't tear my eyes away. He saw me. His smile flashed, and he started walking toward our table. He stopped at our table, his tray balanced casually. Good evening, he said, his English polished, his accent smooth. Everything okay? My parents smiled, nodding. Oblivious, wonderful place, that's it. Great food. Ibrahim's eyes flicked to me, his smile sharpening. And you, Anna, enjoying your dinner? I mumbled something, my voice lost in the noise. He lingered, his presence like a weight, then moved on, disappearing into the crowd. My hands shook as I picked up my fork. The food tasteless now. That night, I told my parents. We were in our room, Sasha asleep, the balcony doors closed. I stumbled through the story, the beach, the texts, the way Ibrahim kept appearing. Mom frowned, but her voice was calm. He's just being friendly, Anna. You're a pretty girl, boys noticed that. Dad nodded. Stay with us if you're worried. His staff, he won't do anything. Their words stung, like I'd imagined it all. I wanted to scream that this wasn't about being pretty, it was about the way he looked at me, the way his words felt like chains, but I just nodded, my eyes burning with unhid tears. The next day, Ibrahim's texts grew bolder. Why are you ignoring me, little Anna? I saw you at dinner. You look cute. Come to the beach tonight. Just you and me. Each one was a jolt, pushing me closer to panic. I stayed with Lena and the girls, avoiding the beach, the courts, anywhere he might be. But he found me again, this time by the pool. I was alone for a moment, grabbing a towel, when he appeared, his shadow falling over me. Anna, he said, his voice soft, almost sweet. Why are you so tense? You don't like me. I froze, my throat dry. His smile was back. But his eyes were cold, like they were daring me to run. "I'm just busy," I said, stepping back. He tilted his head, stepping closer. "You look so cute when you're nervous. I just want to talk, maybe kiss you." The word hit like a punch, my vision blurring. I turned and walked away, my legs trembling. His laugh following me. That was my breaking point. Back in my room, I opened my phone, my hands shaking. His messages filled the screen, each one a reminder of how trapped I felt. I scrolled to his contact, my finger hovering over the block button. What if he got angry? What if he found me anyway? But I couldn't keep living like this, jumping at every buzz, every shadow. I pressed block, the screen flashing, and a weight lifted but not completely. I deleted his messages, each one a small victory, but his face, his voice stayed with me. For the rest of the trip, I stayed glued to my family or the girls. I avoided the beach. The courts, the terrace, the resort was still beautiful, but it was tainted, its shine dulled by fear. I watched every corner, every red shirt, wondering if he was there, waiting. On our last day, as we packed our bags, I felt a mix of relief and dread. Relief that I was leaving, dread that I'd carry this with me. Back in Russia, the memories clung to me like damp sand. I kept my phone close, half expecting a new message, a new number. I didn't play volleyball for weeks. The thought of a court bringing his face back, I wondered if I'd done something wrong, if my smile, my number, my naivety had invited this. But slowly, I realized it wasn't my fault. Ibrahim had seen my youth, my shyness, and used it, twisting a vacation into a nightmare. I was 16, but I'd learned something older: to trust my gut, to recognize the shadows behind a smile. I'd survived, but I'd never forget. As I sit here now, months later, I can still feel the weight of his gaze, the echo of his words, but I'm stronger for it, wiser. I'll carry this story, but it won't define me. To the trainer who saw me as prey, who turned my paradise into a cage, I have only one thing to say: let's never meet again, Ibrahim.